Hello, and today I'm going to be showing off how I train my amiibo being King Poot. I have a I have a few sections I'm going to talk about while training this amiibo. Let's go. So, let's start with amiibo training. We see them as computers that learn off of each other. Maybe think of them as people that see what you do and see how it is like a really crazy thing that they thought, oh, hey, look, I really like this. I want to do it more and more. And then they just take that and go, oh, yeah, because you did it, that means I would like to do it more, as that seems more interesting. So they're going to look at that and they're going to be able to put that into their code, and then they're gonna do it more and more because you're doing it more and more. And so the more you do a move or a taunt or a grab or such, they're gonna do that more and more. And so basically, how you train an amiibo is depending on your play style, depending on how you do what you do, will depend on how the amiibo does what they do. So there's going to be a lot into that, especially when you look at how others play. You'll see a big difference in how others can train it differently than how you can train it in your own way. So maybe you grab an amiibo and you have a friend grab an amiibo, and then just like see how they are trained differently, and that might be an interesting idea, but mostly they copy what you do the most to them, and they will really want to do that. So, like, as you can see in this background footage, basically the whole time I've been doing certain moves, and in like the next background footage, you'll see them doing more of those moves. And over time, they actually do more moves even early on. And you will see later on that, like, I turn it down from like 10 stocks to 3. I'll explain that a little later on. But for the moment, they just learn from what you do. The more of a certain move you do, the more of the certain move they will do. So yeah, let's move on to the next one. So now we're on to how spirits affect amiibo. Now it may be interesting that I went straight to this, but it's got to be somewhere. And so usually how spirits affect amiibo is that you look at the spirit, and depending on certain stats, as you'll see later on when I actually talk more about it in with the availability to show, you'll see how they have more, they'll be able to gain more attack and defense stats with the added benefit of a sort of elemental thing that I'll talk more into later on. But they get crazy strong with special abilities depending on what you give them. And so, yeah, I'll talk on that more in a little bit. But the main thing to think of is spirits are how your amiibo is going to be strong. Stronger than many, even sometimes, depending on how it works. Next up is choosing the right amiibo for you. So I would suggest going with the character you feel the most comfortable with, or the most, or who you feel like you are really good with. So, like, maybe having a character in a platform stage and you're playing against your amiibo, they're going to learn the platform stage so long as you keep going on the platform stage. So, like, stages are also important. I like going these Omega stages, as they're called, and they are really fun because no platforms, that's not too big of a worry for me, and really good ledges, as you just saw there with the spike hitbox. And we um really have fun here, as we're just jumping around a lot like that. And just over time, the amiibo will learn from what your actions are. So playing one of your best characters to train the amiibo to be really great is a really good suggestion. And if you mess up, that's okay. They will see it and be okay with it so long as you keep going. You gotta keep going strong. You cannot just stop and be like, yeah, no, I cannot do this. That's not always gonna help with training amiibo. What your main focus should be is getting your amiibo to do what you feel like they should do as that character, which is the hint by being your best character. And there's lots of ways to get that to happen. And the main important way is just to let you just act like they're a really hard CPU, like level 9, but you're actually able to hit them more often. And just think of them as a really strong opponent that you cannot easily defeat, and they can easily defeat you for however you feel like. But don't take it as a, oh no, I'm going to lose because this is way too strong. Not that type of level 9 CPU, but make it seem like, oh hey, look, I'm going to win because I have the better strategy, and this really tough opponent is not going to stop me. Just think of it as basically, oh, I'm going to win with this strategy, and just do your own strategy, do your own combos, do your own everything, and you will not have a hard time training amiibo. There's a bunch of things you can do, and it will learn from almost anything you can do to it. And so, as most have done when they use amiibo, they've trained it with their character that they're really good with as that character. And I'll explain a little more of what I'm meaning in the next clip. But anyways, just mostly play with your better slash best character you can and be successful. Train up an amiibo and it be really strong and win with it. Have it win a lot of games, matches, and be excited that you have it. That's something I can say. So yeah, have fun with those thoughts. Let's go a little more in depth on why I chose King Poot slash DDD. As I am like really good with this character, I have a really easy time letting him learn from what I do. So like I can spam like down smash and he'll learn down smash easily. But that's not really a optimal solution. Use a variety of moves is really what you should be doing. So as you can see in my background footage, I am using a high variety of moves that I want King Poot to learn, and he'll learn it easily. Like the Gordo there, you'll see a lot more of that happening because it is a really decent move, and I want him to learn it. Same with a bunch of other moves, like down air and up air and such. Those are moves that I really want him to learn. And so why I chose DDD is because he's my main. Main is like really good at the characters that you want to play him as often as you feel like, I'm going to say. Because as often as possible, you're probably not going to always want to play the same character, and it gets boring sometimes. But that usually means you need to play someone else for a bit, but you could still say that they are your main and still be really good with them and have like I have a couple good characters that I am just good with because I've played them more than I have with some other characters. Like DDD is one of the ones that I've played with the most, and that's mostly why I'm trading amiibo of him again and letting him play as an amiibo that is going to turn so strong that I'm going to be able to not beat him easily. Now, most of the time, you do not want to use cheese. That is one of the most important things to remember, is cheese does not help. And by cheese, I mean like literally just taking them off edge and then just like telling them that they can no longer be on that stock. With like down air, the spike is not cheese. That is a fair mechanic because it doesn't always work depending on your hitbox. As you can see there, both of us missed the down air, and so it didn't do anything because I didn't completely pay attention there, but still. Spikes are not cheese, even though it may look like cheese. It's not really that much of cheese compared to some other things that I can well, that are like um King Dedede has the neutral special being a suction power, and you get to basically hold the opponent in your stomach area, I guess, and then you could just literally jump off edge if they are high enough in percent and literally not have a. And both of you could lose a stock. That's just basically cheese. Am I trying to do it right now? Nope. Otherwise, you could just mostly search up cheese mechanics in Smash Bros. And understand what is going on. And so, yeah, I think mostly it's just play the character as if you are that character and you are playing against someone who wants to be like you. And this one is faster than probably most. But they are just going to be copying certain moves more than others. So, yeah, let's move on into the next clip. Let's get in a little more into spirits. As you can see in the background footage, I have a bunch of spirits that I'm showing off. Well, not a bunch, but very little, basically. And you can see that there's the orange attack stat, there's the blue defense stat, and there is the XP bar. You can add more XP for levels with the spirits. As you get more spirits into it, there will be less XP you can add into it. But basically, um add spirits as you will. If you're using the spirits, do not worry about it. But otherwise, you can play with the spirits as you feel they may need it. As here, there's the elements which have grab counters defense. Defense counters attack, and attack counters grab. And then there's the neutral. Basically just elements for Smash Bros. Ultimate. I don't think there is a reason that shouldn't be a thing, but yeah. And then there's like the thing above the attack and defense, and right next to the element is basically how they're gonna act towards combat in game. And they're gonna be so like this CED, if I with the aggressive, is gonna be very aggressive. The bottom half doesn't really matter yet until you get to support spirits, and so you could just tell that. And now I'm letting them inherit the spirit there. So let's move on to the support spirits. There is 1 section, 2 section, and 3 section support spirits that target the 1, 2, and 3 section inside of your amiibo, as they have different abilities that they can be put on. So over here, you'll see how I am looking through many of the support spirits I have and looking to see maybe I want to add a dash attack up, which is what I'm going to do. And as you can see, it trades off defense and adds attack and still makes him more aggressive, more on the aggressive side. And so you see that it's going to keep going that way for a little bit. And then a little later, I'm going to add the golden dash mushroom for a giant. I don't know why they chose that for this game. They just did. And so um he's going to be chaotic later on, which I will talk about. But mostly these are depending on what you choose will be making them stronger or making them have some, mostly just making them stronger, but also can make them have different types of abilities that help them over time. And as you'll see later on, that's when you'll see them work with others. And with the fact that they're going to be crazy strong, it's going to be harder to defeat them, and you'll be able to succeed in creating a really strong amiibo. And you'll find that others will also have these crazy strong amiibos that have primary and support spirits on them. And when you battle them, it'll be their own different way. And then, yeah, for fun. Okay, and then we have, as you can see, there's the two sections, and I look around a little bit thinking of ideas. But at the end, I just choose the golden mushroom, yes, and he becomes giant from it. So I'll let that go to there real quick. So here I am now at the golden dash mushroom, and I'm going to choose it because it's better on the other two stats that give out giant, in my opinion. And so in a little bit, I'm going to switch it to primaries again and add some balancing because defense dropped really low but had more really high attack. So I'm going to add a little bit into the amiibo again, and then we'll get back to battling soon. So I'll see you when we get back to the battling sections. Also, really quickly, let's talk about learn being on or off. It's just basically whether or not you want the amiibo to learn from battling whomever it is battling. So when you're not playing the same character as them, I suggest turning off battle. So now let's talk about a little bit about my change in rule set. It's just basically um instead of being 10 stocks, I'm going to change it to my 3 stocks. So it's faster gameplay instead of slower, longer gameplay. So now you notice that I'm not playing DDD, and that's because I wanted to play a different character for a bit to see how, because sometimes the amiibo can just be like one way with while you're playing their character, another while you're playing a different character, and it goes a little interesting on how the amiibo works. And so mostly what's being shown here is that he's working a lot like how the when I was playing his character being DDD, the King DDD, And playing as Kerbo, of course, I'm going to have a bunch of different tech than he is used to, and so because I've turned off learn, he's just gonna do whatever he has had before and has done before. And so he's going to use that against me with the buffs he has received and win. That's basically a lot of what's happening is just he's going to use those buffs and he's going to win. There is a low chance of me winning, but that's just because later on I only win once, and that was decently early. But they were just eaters of stocks, as you'll see in the clips. They're just eaters of stocks. So yeah, let's talk about the next section. Let's talk about how the spirits affected King Poot here. He takes more hits before going down, hinted by the less percent taken, and he deals a ton more damage as shown by the percent taken to me. And you will see that over time he just becomes too overpowering for many foes. And the spirits will give him that increase that shows off how much stronger he is against those foes. So now, let's go into some interesting clips that I got while playing. That's a triple sizzle, which is just basically a fire attack. I not care about charging right now. Phone. They get medals. Smash, it's only for the initial hit. I would choose Dark Spamus over regular Spamus, and yes, I call them Spamus because that is a funnier name to me. Oh, I'm surprised. You almost did it. You almost did it. Why did you do it on the shield break, though? That is my question. Why did you do it on the shield break? Well... Oh... And that was stage that is permanent Omega unless you make it have platforms by using Battlefield thing, which is an actual stage, but they called it Battlefield for whatever decision they decided to have a decision for. And I get that for not... And he is pretty strong for being a non-DLC and a part of the first new character set. Well, I'm just gonna lose that stock. I can at least get one stock now. And if I didn't get turned around, and that's called Electric Wind God Fist, which is just basically a weird thing because you're usually supposed to just go down circle into a tilt attack, forward tilt. But sometimes you could just spin the movement and you all of a sudden get Electric Wind God Fist. I think I'm dead now. Or lost. Back when he was introduced, it was a pretty new game. I think. Do not quote me on that for one, and for two, that is Meta Knight. He's going to be the chaotic character. I don't know. Can I recover? Because yes, the Gordo saved me. Oh. I don't know why I keep repeating that. Waddle Dee. That's a big Waddle Dee. Yeah, let's just say that I started at 2 stocks there. I liked him for doing that, but let's just say I started at 2. Let's talk about amiibo versus amiibo. Basically, 2 really strong characters going head to head. And since they are equal in defense and attack, basically. They are going to be just basically think about it as a player versus a player, or a CPU versus a CPU, or a CPU versus a player. Anything can happen. They are equally matched except for spirit differentiations. Like Pooch Plant has the 30% startup, but has a buff in attack in trade, and where King Poot has the dash attack up and the um giant start. I don't remember what I gave Pooch Plant for the other one, but it is a really good spirit, I'm pretty sure. And so, as they go head to head, we will see what happens. It didn't hurt. I may have to hold this. Oh gosh, I'm shaking it a lot. There, it's centered. It is centered. Making sure my words don't get misinterpreted. If that makes sense. Okay, the funness of watching Amiibo go at it with each other. You know what? Actually, I think this will be last game. I can show Assassin Curb off later. So yeah, once this is over, I'll talk again. Or actually, I could talk a little bit about some of this Pooch Plant, since there's not much to know about him. Well, I guess it's... So that's a lot of how you work with Amiibo and how to train Amiibo. So thank you for watching, and hopefully this was helpful, and see ya.